Welcome to Venti Question Screen Discussions. I'm Chris.
And I'm Michael, and this is a show where we discuss everything from the silver screen to the small screen to even the streaming screen you may have in your pocket.
This is true. So we're going to put 30 minutes on the clock and give our opinion on what we just watched. So Michael, what did we just watch?
We just watched Ant-Man. Full disclosure, we've seen it before. But with the new one coming out in a few weeks, we figured this is a great time to kind of go back and catch back up.
Let's get the Ant-Mania going on, you know?
That's not a word, but sure.
You know, just trying.
Anyway, I definitely found out some things about the movie that I'd forgotten since it had been so long, and I got some opinions.
The joke still landed.
There you go. Well, Let's put those 30 minutes on. Boop. All right.
Woo.
So first things first, let's talk about the plot.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a heist movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe obviously sets it apart.
Yeah.
Right? I'm also biased because you know I love heist movies.
Oh, heist movies are great.
Just in general, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's actually, if you take apart the superhero aspect, you take apart the humor from Paul Rudd and Michael Pena, it's just a solidly good heist movie.
It's good. Yep.
I really enjoy it. Just on that part alone.
Yeah. It hit a lot of the main plot points that you would expect in both a heist movie, but in a superhero movie as well.
Yeah, of course.
The arc was good. You know, sometimes it gets cheesy when they start bringing the family part into it too to make it more human or whatever. But they brought humor into that.
Not only that, let's talk about the family dynamic, because I think that's a really, really big thing about this movie that actually does set it apart, and from the entire series, really, is first off, you have like, you know, the typical broken home, right? Where the mom and dad are divorced, and then you get the kid, and then you get the stepdad. Now, typically speaking, in movies, the stepdad's kind of a jackass, right?
Sure.
He's the one that's like causing the problems.
Right.
And at first, you kind of think that, right?
Right.
Of course, she ends up marrying a cop.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, oh God, he's gonna be busting his balls the whole freaking movie.
You're right. I get liar vibes, you know, from that, right? Where it's like, oh, the hook, get the hook, you know?
Yes.
And he's trying too
emulate.
hard, or right. But he's not the real dad.
But the thing that I think really sells the dynamic from the very beginning is he's talking junk to our main actor, Scott Lang. But then in between a jab, because the kid's there and the jab's kind of quiet, to not let the kid hear it, which first off, very good.
Right.
Then he's like, oh, sweetie. And he like shows true care, changes the dynamic of how he's speaking. And it's just like, oh, he's been there for the past like X amount of years.
Yeah.
And he actually cares about this kid.
He's protecting.
Right.
And then
obviously we're skipping all the way to the end here because we're talking about the dynamic. When the opportunity goes where he needs to run inside of a building that just kind of like blew up to try to save the kid, he goes in.
He's there.
Immediately, gun out, like, let's shoot a bitch. Like, he's ready.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
It's true.
So I did like that aspect.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the family dinner at the end is also really kind of cool, where it's like, okay, they're bringing him in. I mean, he had to turn out to be a superhero for them to give him a chance, but, you know, it is what it is.
It worked. No, it was good. And you didn't hate him. You know, it wasn't like they tried to play that in the whole movie. They actually came to terms at the end, right?
Right.
So it wasn't like this whole thing they're going to continue to do, like, oh, this guy again kind of thing, right?
Exactly. So. Although I will say the actor who plays him, hold on, I have the list here. I feel like he's like a discount.
Ray Romano?
The brother from
the
Ray.
brother
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, it's too far away. I'm too old. His name is Bobby Cannavale. And I'm just like, is that the... No, it's not.
It's not.
That's the
what
first
is that guy's name?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, Ray. Yeah.
You know,
Everybody loves Ray.
Yep.
But no, he is a discount version of that. Yeah. He has a little bit of the face thing to it, the voice a little bit too, even.
Yeah.
But they might be related.
Could be.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Casting
was good.
I honestly, I remember when we first heard that Paul Rudd was going to be Ant-Man, and our response was kind of like, what?
Yeah.
I think we both, because, okay, I've liked Paul Rudd for a long time, and I know you have as well. So we both kind of had that, like, all right, let's see how it goes.
It was just tough.
But it was just weird. But then we heard the rumor that they had to take the muscle padding out, a little bit out of his costume, because when he showed up, he actually was so ripped that it wasn't needed. They were able to use more of his own stuff. I remember hearing that once again before like any type of footage was seen. I was like, oh wow, he took it serious.
Well, we didn't. I mean, what has he been in that's been like a action role that you're like, oh, Paul Rudd?
Nothing that I've ever seen.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
I think this is the first time he's ever had abs.
I think so. Well, since Clueless, probably.
He probably had them in there, but the more you think about Clueless, it's really kind of creepy. It's a whole incest story.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, a little weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Clueless.
let's jump off that.
Let's not dive
Left
into
turn.
that. Let's talk about ants. Let's talk about ants. Actually, that part's cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I will say about the ant aspect. I feel like there's more than just 4 types of ants.
Yeah, I'm sure those are the ones that they're
But
using.
there's only 4 types of ants that they use.
I didn't know there was like a little electrical ants, whatever that is. So,
I didn't know that either, and it makes me kind of go, is that real?
Is that real? Do you just like
Is that a comic book thing?
you just Disney that? You just Disney that? I don't know.
Okay, you want to talk about Disney?
Yeah, they dropped a lot of their stuff.
So there was multiple Disney like property type things utilized in this movie.
Oh yeah.
The biggest like one is when Michael Pena's character starts whistling "It's a Small World."
Yes, which is very appropriate for Ant-Man.
It was,
mind you.
It was very punny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was good. And there was Thomas the Tank Engine is not owned
Is
by
that a
Disney.
property? I don't think that's a property.
No, that's a it's like a PBS type thing.
Right.
But there's
Wait, does Disney
another
own PBS.
no public broadcasting.
That's true. Yes, this is true.
Something. I don't know.
Station.
I was I don't know why I couldn't think of the end. I wanted to say system, and I'm like, that's not right.
The reason I always second guess that, I always ask, does Disney own that? Because
They own everything.
Disney owns everything. And if they don't, they do. And you just don't know it.
If they don't, it's because they just haven't finalized it yet.
They own the public. So it
I
wouldn't
think
be a
we're on
stretch.
Disney property right now.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they've just slowly been expanding their property over the years.
Yeah.
And we just don't know it, but like
Right.
all of Orlando is owned
Why
by
do my
them.
taxes go up? I don't know, huh? What is this Mouse Incorporated thing?
I don't understand, but how come Goofy has a gold hat now?
Yeah.
As far as the casting goes, though, like across the board, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I really, really liked the tie-ins that they had, right? So they actually did use the same actress, who I can't think of her name now, which is why I pulled this up, but I can't read it. Haley Atwell. The fact that they got the woman that plays Peggy Carter. The fact that they got the guy, John Slattery, who plays the recasted version of Howard Stark.
Yes, but
I want to say this is the first time we see him play Howard Stark, but now he plays him moving forward in the MCU.
Yes. And I like that character. He was in Mad Men, and he acts the exact same way in that movie. So
I mean,
it's his
with
personality.
mine, I never saw Mad Men,
Mhm.
but I kind of like know the gist of it. I've seen scenes.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like, yeah, that's Howard Stark. Like
Yeah.
that's just
He fits
he
the
was
role.
one of those guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really did enjoy like the overall aspect of it. I will say that the bad guy.
Yeah.
I guess his name is Corey Stoll.
Take it or leave it.
Generic.
Yeah.
There's a couple of scenes that I think are awesome.
Right.
The scene where they're in the bathroom and he cold blood shoots the guy, turns him into a little drop of gunk, and then wipes him. That's a cool scene. You're like, oh, that's pretty decent.
Sure.
But then when he's washing his hands and he looks up and you're like, oh, he has to face himself in the mirror. And he's just calm, cool, and collected and serious. You're like, oh, he's not mentally stable.
Right.
Oh,
A
okay.
little bit of a sociopath there.
Yeah.
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 Now that actor, I think the first time I really, I guess, credit him, something I saw was House of Cards, that show House of Cards.
I never watched that show.
And he's really good in it, and his acting is good in that.
Unfortunately, by the time that I was like considering it, it was no longer appropriate to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
Spacey.
Little diddles happened and couldn't go in there anymore. Yeah.
Nope.
Anyway.
Anyway, but he's not as good of an actor in this than he was
Is
in
he?
that. He's a better
Okay.
actor than what he displayed. There was a little bit kind of oddly over the top, even though he didn't really fit the eccentric genius.
No, I didn't get the genius part.
No.
The eccentric part, yeah.
Yeah.
The slightly
Well,
like
not
creepy like assistant that was like, I need daddy's attention and approval. Yes.
Sure. That part.
That came across really well. And like being unhinged when he finally like goes off the deep end in the actual suit.
Right.
Totally understand that part. But
I don't like the fact that, if he is the Mr. Assistant lab guy, then business guy, then how can he do so well in physical combat? And
so
none of that was explained. At least you got some background.
Let's kind of jump on that
right?
a little bit. So I agree 100%. One of the best things about this movie, and I think it's why it's so glaring, is that the foreshadowing is so delicately placed in almost everything else that this becomes a glaring
it's a standout
situation.
They rushed the bad guy, it seems.
I feel the same.
You
I
didn't
feel
get
like
enough.
it needed an extra like maybe even just 10 minutes, but probably 20 minutes on the runtime to flesh him out a little bit, and we'd have a better situation. But there again, even though I love the MCU always has the biggest problem with their villains.
Yeah.
They have 3 good villains. Thanos is a good villain. Only because they slow. Yeah. And then Loki and then Killmonger.
Okay. I was going to say, were you going to say Killmonger?
Oh,
I was
of
going to throw that one in your face real quick if you weren't going to say that.
No.
So-
I was the only one I was 50-50 on was Thanos. Because yes, he's a good bad guy, but how many opportunities did he get? You know what I mean?
Sure.
They knocked Loki out of the park first try. And they just kept bringing him back because they were like, we got to get somebody good,
Sure.
But this, was something Cross. Daring Cross, this is a throwaway guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
And you just, they're going to kill him. It's not going to be
He's not a
anything
franchise
sustainable.
name.
Yeah.
It's not going there. I'm not going to talk about that. Spoilers. It's all good. As far as like we were saying, the foreshadowing, the only other issue I had, and we talked about this a little bit, was near like the montage, Scott Lang becoming like a decent Ant-Man portion, where they have the scene where him and Hank Pym are talking about the regulator for the suit that prevents them from going subatomic size. That is the only other heavy-handed. That's the opposite. I feel like that's the only scene that was heavy-handed, the foreshadowing, because he explains to Scott what could happen, but the way that he does it, you can see his character kind of like staring off into the distance and losing it, because it's obvious that that's how his wife died. They haven't shown that yet, but it's like, you'll lose everything and everyone that you...
Right.
And you're just like, oh, that's what happened.
Well, the problem is
then they show a good foreshadowing of it later when he's explaining it to his daughter.
They explained it twice, and they only needed to explain it once, and it was the only time it should have mattered is explaining it to his daughter.
Exactly.
Because it literally showed the exact thing that he needed to do, right?
Right.
Later on in the movie. So,
and if they wanted to still have that scene, they could have had him play it off more nonchalant, like, hey, don't mess with that. That's what regulates your size.
oh, yeah, 30 years of technology, and you're going to come and screw it up, or something like that. Like,
where did you say you got your master's degree in electronics or whatever the fuck it is?
Online or something, he's like, make some kind of comment.
It's from Trump College.
Right. Did you hack that degree too? Or something like that,
Like, there's a lot of little zingers that could have went in there that I feel would have helped still lay the foundation, but not go all the way.
Tell them, hey, don't mess with it.
Right.
Because that was the point, was saying, don't touch it, bad things happen.
Now,
but
if I had one more, and I'm digging now, Scott Lang in the beginning is a freaking gymnast as far as his...
Yeah, hardcore parkour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they never explain that.
He's a master thief.
He's stolen one thing.
And I thought it was like
And it was hacking,
like technology related, not like
he wasn't a cat burglar. I mean, they do actually call him a cat burglar.
Right, they do.
He calls himself a cat burglar.
And then he's referred to as the other word you would call a cat, like T.I.
Yeah. Which is also, you know what? Good for T.I. This was a good movie for him, and there was a little role. He didn't mess it up one way or the other. I mean, obviously he's done other acting.
Sure.
And I think he actually is a pretty decent. He was also he did that little 2-bit role in American Gangster.
Sure.
Which I thought was really good as well.
There's a little comedy in there that he
and
threw.
It's good.
Yeah.
His timing's good. The other guy is funnier, but that's just because he's freaking weird. His name's David.
He is a huge.
His last name is about 14 letters long.
He's a huge superhero fan too.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Michael Pena.
Yeah.
Literally the best part of the entire movie, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Every scene he's in, he steals it.
It's funny.
He's the focal point.
Here's the funny thing. Paul Rudd's the funny guy, and he's the comic relief. But Mike Pena, he's the comic relief for the comic relief.
Yes.
So it's just, he's actually the goofier comic relief.
The funniest part, so I saw him interviewed on one of the late night shows. I want to say it was I don't remember who it was.
I'll be waiting over here until Michael.
Oh, hush. So it was one of the late night talk shows. I don't remember who it was, but they asked him where'd you come up with this? And he's like, oh, this is a guy I know. So he based it off of this dude.
That's funny.
And he's like, yeah, he'll know who. He'll see that and be like, hey, that's me.
It's funny.
And it was really, really interesting. I was just like, there's a real person like that.
The problem with doing a character like that and him executing it so well is that now you associate that with him, which and does that typecast him in that?
It's so polar opposite to how I've ever seen him in any type of interview or press junket. Yes. He is a serious, very nice, very polite kind of guy, but he's not that at all.
Right.
He's more like his character in Fury than he is this character.
Yeah, wasn't he in what was that movie? He did a movie with Gyllenhaal. It was a cop movie. It was
yes.
Yeah.
Last Watch or Final Watch.
Something like that.
No. He didn't do the one with Gyllenhaal. He did the one with Batman, Christian Bale. Yeah, where they won't go south of the border.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Remember, because he's about to become like a DEA guy down in South America, Christian Bale's character.
Sure.
And then he smokes weed with them, and then he's freaks out because they have to fake it and all this other stuff. He has to stick the tube up his urethra to wash it out.
You remember that part?
I remember the entire movie.
That part you remember. You grab onto that.
I like how I described 5 other freaking scenes before that, and that's the only part you grabbed onto. But whatever.
You grabbed that one hard. You grabbed the urethra.
You know what? He might have actually been in both those movies.
I think he was, but I was gonna, I digress.
Because,
yeah.
Because they had to change the name of the movie with the Christian Bale one because it came out right around 9/11.
He was the one with Gyllenhaal, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, serious role for him. Cool.
Yeah. That one I think is it's last or final something.
Yeah, it's some cop movie. So
yeah, and it's a bunch of cop movies. He actually does a lot of cop movies. Because he was also in I mean it's a mall cop, but he was in Paul Blart.
Yeah, it's not.
He was also in Chips.
That one or that one.
That's a good movie. You seen it?
We're not reviewing that one on here.
Anyway,
there are good parts to that movie, but it is not a good movie. So,
no, overall, no, it's not supposed to be. It's based off. It's like saying Starsky and Hutch is a good movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so outside of that aspect, let's talk about just some really good scenes.
Yeah.
The cameo with Falcon.
In
that fight.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the funnier parts of the movie. And it's obviously it's supposed to be funny, but it's a great example of how they have both ha funny and oh, that's actually kind of humorous funny. They do a good job of throwing it both in there.
Well, I just like the fact that he stole from the Avengers.
Oh, yeah. Not only did he fight a guy who's been in the military, a career military guy.
With advanced tech.
With advanced, at that point in time, I want to say it's Stark infused tech. Because that's full, like, color coordinated versions of it.
Stark had a piece of it, all that stuff, I bet. So,
well, that's what I'm saying. Because, like, in Winter Soldier, Stark had nothing to do with that tech. And that's why it was still military issue, like green, black. There was no color scheme or nothing. But then when you see him in Ultron, that's when you... Not Ultron. Sorry. Oh, gosh. It's the third Captain America movie. The Soviet Accords. Civil War. Wow. Yeah. When you see him in that, which is the next movie after this, that's when you see him in like that full garb again. He has all the extra. He has a little Red Wing drone.
Red Wing, yeah, right.
You know, all those kind of things. So, yeah, this dude's been fighting for quite some time.
Yep.
And he lost.
To a thief.
Tic Tac.
Yeah. Tic Tac.
That's what he calls him.
Yeah, cute.
But yeah, so I very much enjoyed that scene. And you're right. The aspect that he stole from an Avenger.
Yeah.
And he's also one of the few people that called out in the very beginning, like, I think the first thing we should do is call the Avengers. Like, this is world domination. I'm a thief. You're an old man.
Right.
Let's make a phone call.
Right.
Which is one of those things that, you know, people have brought up, not only about just like comic books in general, but then also in these movies where it's like, you know, they teamed up like 6 months ago, according to their timeline. Nobody exchanged contact information.
Yeah. It's not just that. You see this in superhero movies all the time where they're existing in the same universe as other heroes and even more powerful heroes. And it's like, but maybe those people had the day off the day that this guy needs to save the world. Right. And that's what happened. And you're like, what is going on here?
Right. It's like, okay, we're jumping ship to DC really, really quick. But it's like, why doesn't Batman just speak out loud and go like, hey, Soup, can you come kick this dude's ass real quick? Because he can hear you.
Right.
Even though he's like a million miles or, 10 miles down the road, depending on which movie you're watching.
Sure.
He's right there.
Right.
I just don't get it. And the same thing in this one. It's like,
he's keeping tabs on you. He's got to be. Like,
yeah. And in this one, it's like, okay, just freaking yell up to Heimdall to tell Thor something, because apparently he's constantly watching everything.
Omnipotent.
Creepy. And it's the same kind of thing, because like, let's be honest here. Thor would do one swing on Yellow Jacket and he's a goner. Yeah. The Hulk would literally rip him in half.
Yeah, most others.
Captain America would beat the living hell out of him.
Right.
Hawkeye would. Well, that's 50-50.
Well, Falcon, now that's questionable. So.
Well, now we know. Yeah, there you go. Here's the
thing.
You
would think he would destroy him because of,
you would think he would, just because of like hand-to-hand combat aspects.
Right. And I was going to say, Falcon probably, he was holding back, but he wasn't holding back because he was firing guns.
Oh, he was trying to kill him.
He was trying to kill him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he was probably like aiming below the waist, like going for the legs and junk.
It's this big.
I understand
the bullet hit the ant when he was flying an ant.
But that wasn't from Falcon with the super high tech guy. No, that was from a guy that had no optical help and was just randomly shooting in the was it raining? It wasn't raining.
No.
Yeah. Randomly shooting.
But there was
out
another
the
swarm of other.
I was like, come on. Yeah. Also, they made me feel sad about an ant getting shot.
Yeah. They do that like twice. Sort of. In the other one, the seagull.
Seagull.
And like a seagull grabbed the ant. Like, no, Anthony.
I don't remember that.
No? I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is kind of one of those things where it's like, good job, but like, really? Come on, guy. And then also let's talk about more animal cruelty. Darren Cross and the sheep.
Yeah.
That was, I think that they showed that reaction to both the negative result and the positive result to help you realize that he is a psychopath. But like, what the heck, bro?
Yeah.
What were you changing in between experiments 24C and 25C?
Right. It's like, all right, bring the next one in. It's like,
And you're like, are you going to alter something?
Right. Right.
And then also, okay, once again, nitpicking here. Why were they trying to shrink the sheep?
I don't understand. Doesn't the suit have the magic
and then
shrinking sauce?
And then how did they finally get it to work correctly? They put the sheep inside of a box.
Right.
What? You were trying to shrink the sheep without a suit, even after you had designed and created the suit.
During the movie, you said the biggest thing that bothered me was, how did Yellow Jacket, how did the bad guy get into the suit in the helicopter?
Yes.
So quickly.
He turned around, one turnaround, and like Wonder Woman, all of a sudden showed up in the suit. It was a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because you made the comment, and I would even think about it, as I've watched this movie like maybe 10 times before, and I never once thought about it until you mentioned, how does he even get into that?
Right.
About the Ant-Man suit.
Right.
Because there's no zipper or anything that you see. It's probably like on the side.
Something. Sure.
Yeah. And then it made me, it was fresh in my mind. So then when I saw the bad guy do it, you're like, oh, okay, that was more outrageous.
In the matter of seconds, though.
Like maybe 3 seconds. Right. Maybe. Like he wouldn't have had time to take a shoe off.
No.
That part I didn't care for.
But we're nitpicking. It was a great movie. Overall,
it really is.
It's enjoyable.
Overall, not only is it a good movie, it's a great setup for a character in the MCU. It has a great tie-in that when you look back, you realize that they set up with the second, like, Louise story time of this guy told this guy thing.
Mm-hmm.
That literally when Falcon tells Cap, which we see in the second post-credit scene, I know a guy, that already took place.
Right.
So like he's been keeping tabs on the dude that kicked his ass.
Pretty much. He's been asking about him.
But he's been making sure it stays under the radar because he doesn't want Cap to know about it.
Right.
Which is also just... Yep. He doesn't want another on your left. He doesn't need two things to be held to things against.
No.
But yeah, overall, I mean, it is one of the standouts in the MCU because I feel like it is a complete departure.
Well, you went into it not really knowing what to expect, right?
Yes.
And who cared about Ant-Man before? At all. And then all of a sudden, it becomes one of the best movies they made. So,
and I made the joke in the beginning because of just the way it starts that the introduction of Scott Lang's and the comedy aspect of it is very similar to how we are introduced to Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's another individual character group, however you want to look at it, that was only diehards knew about them.
Sure.
No one knew. And then they were like, all right, I'm expecting like a C+ movie, and you got a star A.
Right.
You know?
You thought you'd maybe get a Fantastic Four movie. And it was so much more. Sorry.
You just had to ruin the entire vibe, dude.
They'll get it right one of these days. They'll get it right.
Once they get good cast. No. The last time they did casting, it was good casting. They had Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller, and they still couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. What are you going to do? But yeah, any other final thoughts? Because we only got like a minute or two left.
No, but I mean, we definitely wanted to watch this one leading up to Quantumania, which will be coming out. So we're going to also probably watch Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then give our thoughts on that one, and then we'll finish it up with Quantumania.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one too because I've only seen the second one maybe like 2-3 times.
I'm excited for the villain in that one.
Ghost?
No, I'm sorry. Quantumania. I jumped ahead.
Oh, sorry. You're talking about Kang. Yes. I'm very excited for that. There's a couple other things that I'm interested. Here's the big thing. This is the door opening to this next phase. This is what, phase 5 or is it phase 6? I don't remember.
I don't know.
I'm horrible with the phases.
This was 2.
Well, no, this one was. I'm talking about
Yes.
Quantumania, but it's the first one in the series, and it's going to be a long lasting situation with Kang the Conqueror here. So I'm very excited about that.
Yep.
But that's our 30 minutes.
Pretty much. We did it. We pulled it off.
Yeah, we actually for once didn't go, oh, and we actually had like an extra like 15 seconds.
And this one, and that one,
and I liked this part, and then that part, and then this was my favorite part. So
and they all lived happily ever after.
But yeah, so basically that was our opinion on Ant-Man.
That was our small opinion on a big movie.
Wow. I know what you were trying to do. No. But yeah, so make sure you come check us out next time. If you liked this and you want to see more of it, make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what other movies you'd like us to give our opinions on. And then also, explore around, see what other videos we got going on. You might find something you like.
Start clicking.
Yeah. Click it, go to the bathroom, take a shower. You don't have to watch it. Just make it keep going.
Click away.
Yeah, we don't mind. And then afterwards, come back over and be like, loved it. Enter. That's all we're asking for.
Like, share,
subscribe. Anything else?
That's all I got. Cue the music.
We don't do music for this one.
Well, now we need to.
Great. All right, we're good.